I was supposed to be invisible that morning. Pressed shirt, black slacks, a tray riding my hip like a second rib. When the billionaire at the head of the glass box started speaking in Arabic, and everyone nodded like they understood, the words rolled quick and warm, and then I heard the phrase that made my spine go cold, an alignment clause with discretionary revision. You hear that, and you know someone's reaching for the keys after you've parked the car, so my mouth moved before my brain could vote, and I said in his dialect respectfully, that lets you rewrite the deal after they sign. The room froze. 12 suits turned as one bird. A translator stared at his notes like they'd betrayed him, and the man with the empire, Dr. Rami al-Qadir, tilted his head and switched to English. "You speak my language?" he asked. I answered in his, enough to hear the difference between a net and a leash, yeah. "That happened," someone whispered. "Is she even staff?" Someone else said server, like the word tasted good. I set my tray down, my hands steady and my pulse not, and I told him. The clause was an override in a nicer suit. He dismissed his translator with 2 fingers, ended the meeting with a nod. Tomorrow at noon, and I walked back to the service elevator, holding my face together, while everything inside me moved. Name's Nia Carter, by the way. That was the first time I refused to disappear. My supervisor tried to make me small again. Thin ice calls from upstairs. Until Evelyn Cho, the general manager, with a voice shaped like a verdict, stepped in. "She stays," she said. She saw more in 5 minutes than some lawyers do in 5 months. And at 3 o'clock I was in her office with the river behind her, and a single photo of her shaking a president's hand. "Doha," she asked. "Why'd you leave my dad?" "Got sick," I said. I came home, then the gap on my resume started talking louder than my degree. She didn't blink. She slid a fat binder across the desk. "Show me what's broken. You have 24 hours. I carried it home like a door I'd been waiting to open, made tea, spread sticky notes, like little flags, pulled my old highlighters and started reading. People think bad contracts scream. They don't. They smile, they say harmonization and contingency and recalibration. And if you don't ask who holds the wrench, you wake up and your house has a new landlord. I underlined verbs like they owed me money, found retroactive power dressed as compliance, ownership, handoff, disguised as partnership, and wrote in the margin, define realignment, or it becomes a crowbar. By dawn, I'd flagged 10 landmines and five cultural misreads and 3 clauses, wired straight to arbitration. Disaster. Evelyn read my notes with that still face smart people wear when they decide whether to bet the table on you. "You worked all night," she said then. At noon, I wasn't carrying water anymore. I was in a navy dress at the same table with the same men and no translator. I spoke only when asked, offered clean edits, and a reason used metaphors that traveled across cultures without sounding like a TED Talk. It's amazing what happens when you translate intent and not just words. Shoulders drop, the temperature climbs back to human, and the space between sides stops feeling like a canyon. During the break, a junior partner named Trent blocked the hall with a smile that belonged in a prep school locker room and told me I didn't have a seat at the table. I told him my clearance was written in the footnotes. He ignored, you know what I mean? Evelyn appeared at my shoulder like air with steel in it, and Trent evaporated by the end. Both sides were actually shaking hands. No one said it out loud, but the room knew who had balanced the scale. Dr. Al-Qadir pressed a worn coin into my palm. A token, not payment memory. And I thought, keep this, you'll need it. 2 days later, I had a new badge that said advisory and a desk that faced the river. Respect is heavier than people think. You carry it, and you feel how easy it would be to drop files. Started arriving, half complete. My badge glitched at certain doors, voices got quieter. When I walked by, Amelia Faird flew in from Dubai to onboard me, quick mind, soft hands, eyes that had seen too much. They expected you to take the praise and fade, she murmured over a logistics memo. People who prefer their shadows always do that afternoon. I heard two men outside the copy room. She's digging too deep. She wasn't supposed to touch the Luxembourg reallocation. I hadn't seen Luxembourg anywhere. My bones cooled later. I dug through archived lines until a footnote winked up from a shell company I didn't recognize. 26. 4 million for an environmental access initiative. No project, no signatures. A transfer path that bounced Nicosia to Singapore to Luxembourg like a stone across a lake. The number didn't scare me, the silence around it did. Next morning, Evelyn and I met with the blinds half drawn. You found it, she said. I found the edge. I told her not the drop. She admitted she needed someone they'd underestimate. I didn't love being used. I loved the truth more that night. I chased transaction IDs through sleepy servers and old emails until a name surfaced at the edges like a fin. Preston Hale, external counsel, with the kind of smile that knows where the bodies are buried. He showed up in my apartment, uninvited, laid a contract on my table like a magician setting a trick, and offered me something painless. Stop digging, take a retainer, change floors, sleep at night. Where does the money come from? I asked. From the same place it always comes from, he said. I called it stolen wells and pretty press releases. The smile thinned. He leaned in with mint breath and malice and told me if Evelyn walked this into the board, she'd be done and I'd be a cautionary tale. This is Chicago. You know how this ends? I clicked the tiny recorder in my coat pocket. You can leave now. I said it won't hold up in court, he said. It doesn't have to, I said. It just has to reach the right ears. He stared, gathered his papers, left a chill in the room, and a dent in my courage that took a minute to pop out. The boardroom next morning wasn't a meeting. It was a verdict. Wearing ties. Evelyn fanned a folder like a deck of truth. Amal sat with her back straight. Two partners from Houston and Dubai watched like referees who finally brought whistles. In-house counsel Locke and the Navy suit from day one, Donovan, tried to look comfortable. Dr. Al-Qadir walked in last and said proceed, and we did dates, amounts, routes. Then the language from emails we had: redirect, public outrage, procedural delay, neutralize, whistle risk. My voice stayed calm while the room didn't. We asked if they denied the words. They said context. We slid the full threads over. Preston was conveniently sick. Donovan talked about acting in the firm's interest and diversifying assets, and Amal cut in with diverting from approved projects. People actually breathe and drink. The billionaire's calm cracked. Just enough to let consequence in emergency oversight, he said. Clause 7, immediate suspension, access revoked, independent inquiry, today. Ite walked in and the power left two men who were used to bending rooms by breathing. Evelyn exhaled like a marathoner glimpsing the tape. We're not done, I whispered. She nodded. We know. Victory didn't look like fireworks. It looked like work. We wrote the Clarity Charter because we were tired of cute names for fog, 5 pillars. Transparency, accountability, inclusion, cultural respect, community partnership. Then we bolted them to the floor. Third-party audits every quarter, anonymous reporting with teeth visas and relocation. If the threat is real, plain language. Summaries on every major contract, no signature. Without a page your smart high school cousin could read and explain. And yes, public portals for community projects, so people can see pH numbers and nitrate counts and repair logs without submitting a prayer to a board. First pilot went live on a reservation. Town 2 flights from O'Hare. We tied money to milestones and posted results where anyone with a phone could read them. Bold, a Texas manager called it necessary. A grandmother called it. The hotel put up a small plaque by the concierge desk that read, saved by a voice that refused to stay silent. I didn't ask for it. I didn't remove it either. My friend Rosa gave me a brass token with calligraphy. You earned it, she said. I put it next to the coin Dr. Al-Qadir gave me and thought maybe alignment isn't a miracle. Maybe it's people pushing from both sides until the door stops swinging. Here's the twist that keeps the story honest. Power doesn't retire, it relocates. A month later, I caught a clause in a Southeast Asia draft that read, "Operational exigencies permit unilateral adjustment." And there it was again, override wearing new cologne. So I walked it into a meeting and said it plain, and we argued, and a partner from Dubai said, "Add community oversight to the trigger and require both sides to agree," and it passed. Small win, bigger message. Then I stood on a TV stage in Mexico City, and a journalist asked if this was just greenwashing, and I said, "If we fail, we'll do it publicly because you can't fix what you won't face." And the audience clapped politely, and a community organizer hugged me and whispered, "They believe you," and I wanted to say, belief isn't the goal, clean water is, but sometimes belief is the door money forgot to build, you know what I mean. So was I right to call him out in his own language in a room that worships protocol? Or did I break a line truth shouldn't cross? Is a server allowed to interrupt a billionaire mid-sentence if the words can erase a city's voice? And under all that, how many times have you watched a fancy phrase erase someone and stayed quiet because the room made silence feel safer? Tell me what you think in the comments. Argue with me if you need to. Tell me where you've seen a clause, a rule, a tradition that looked harmless and wasn't. Tell me what you did, or wish you did right. Wrong. Justice, bias. If this hit a nerve, say which one and why, because that's how we find out. If this was just a story, or the start of a language more people will finally hear.